Get me that signal. We need more power.
Here we are back at Gen Con, and of course, I have to come by the Flying Frog booth. Every year we got to talk to Scott, because this is, the con to be at, especially Flying Frog. All right, Scott, it's been a whole year.
Yes.
So what do we got going on this year?
So much new stuff, it's ridiculous. It's an avalanche, is what it is.
Really?
We have to generate so many things from the Kickstarter because we had this mammoth Kickstarter for Shadows of Brimstone, and it unlocked all these stretch goals, and it's a good problem to have, but it's a mountain of stuff to generate. So as we're creating all these things, we're also able to filter some of it out to retail. Otherwise, you'd have like just the base games, and then it would take forever until we finish everything before we can release stuff. So we're on a steady track to release things to retail along the way, but because of the Kickstarter, we have this massive product line, and so it's this unroll of a product line like we've never seen with any of our previous games.
I can see that. I mean, 2 years ago, there was no... Shadows of Brimstone is everywhere here now. And, you still got the other games. There's Fortune and Glory over there, and there's Touch of Evilson over there. But Shadows of Brimstone, that's the main thing right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really exploded. And it's fun to see because so many people come up and tell us about how much fun they're having with it. And really, that's the main thing for us. We're much less of business guys and much more gamers. And so they'll be saying, "Oh, well, we played this 4-player game. We were in the mine. We couldn't get out, and all of us ended up getting KO'd, except for the saloon girl. And then she dragged our body." And it's like, "That's awesome! Oh my God! Then what happened?" And it's like, "We made it to town." And so it's pretty cool because that kind of stuff, we get a lot of enjoyment from it. And knowing that people are having that kind of fun with their family or their friends playing the game, it means a lot to us.
And it is. It's one of my favorite things about the game is that you do end up with stories that you tell afterwards,
Yeah, it's true. It's dripping with theme, which is what we're all about.
Exactly. So where are we at with the Shadows of Brimstone now?
So right now on the show floor at Gen Con, we got some early copies of our brand new Otherworld Tradera Deluxe expansion. I have a copy of it here. This is it. I'm not sure if there's a lot of reflection going on with all the lights. I'll tilt it this way. But this is a new Otherworld expansion, meaning that it introduces a new alien Otherworld that you can go through, leave the Old West through a portal and end up in some other world. This is the Otherworld of Tradera, which is a war-torn alien world, and their tech level is about on par with Earth's World War I. So it's a lot of like trench warfare and gas masks and early tanks and that kind of thing. But it's on an alien world, so it's nothing like we've seen before. You can see they have 3 eyes, and so they have these 3-eyed goggles, and their guns are pretty alien. But here's our cowboys, and they're lost in some crazy, strange world that's very foreign to them, and they're caught in the middle of this epic world war that's going on in another alien world. We really like this because it's representative of what Shadows of Brimstone is all about, where it starts in the gritty old West, and it stays true to that, where you don't have some cybernetic leg and psychic powers or something like that. You're just a bandito or a cowboy or a drifter or something, and you're put in these situations where it's larger than life. You go through some portal and you end up on some alien world, and you're having to deal with that with your 6-shooter. And so
oh my God, that is awesome. That is awesome.
And because this is a deluxe Otherworld, it actually has way more, like whole new decks of cards. It has 4 different new types of enemies. It has new rules for cover terrain, and we have actually plastic models for that as well. Lots of new missions, new boards, showing all of Tradera, but on the flip side, it's all new mine stuff too. So it creates all these new mine mine rooms to visit and encounters to have and stuff like that. So it's chock full of goodness, and this will actually be out in retail in September, but we got some early to have here for Gen Con as a fun exclusive. And but you can, if you didn't make it to Gen Con, you can look for it in stores in September.
That is great. Yeah, I love the kind of World War I the feel of the whole in any games. Anything, especially like horror.
Right.
Wise.
Right.
Awesome. So another big thing is
excuse me, another big thing is we just made a major announcement yesterday where we revealed our plan for, we called it Flying Frog's Next Big Thing because we thought it would be kind of funny. And we revealed the plan for our next game because as you know, we're generating all this mountain of material that we had to create for all of our Kickstarter backers from Shadows of Brimstone.
Yeah.
But we're nearing the end of that process. And so as each artist or sculptor has finished all their work for that stuff, they needed to roll on to the next thing. And so we started the next project and we wanted to let everybody know. So we unveiled it yesterday in a big briefing and showed off the Forbidden Fortress. So this is basically in the Shadows of Brimstone world. It's using the same game engine, but it takes place in Feudal Japan. And so you play as, you know, an assassin, like a ninja, or a samurai, or a sorceress, or a traveling monk. And then you're facing, you're going through Japanese castles and temples and facing off against demons. A lot of the stuff we pulled from Japanese mythology.
Yeah.
But it's all 100% compatible with every expansion for Shadows of Brimstone and the main sets. So just as these cowboys can go from the Old West and go into the mines, go through a portal and end up on another world, they can also now go through a portal and end up in Feudal Japan. Or a samurai in Japan can go through a portal and end up in Tradera, or in the Old West, or in the Caverns of Cinder, or whatever. So they all connect together. So it acts as a standalone game that you can play just full on, you know, in Japan, or you can just put it together with all of the expansions and have a huge interconnected world.
Oh my gosh! So what is the plan for that?
So
yeah, I
can
see you
show
got some
of the
artwork
art
here. Yeah.
So it's very early, and so
Right.
you know, we don't have everything done. But this shows off. Here's kind of a mood piece that shows, you know, what Japan looks like, the castles and everything. And then these are some of the boards, so you can see, you know, some of the. This is within a castle, and you'll see there's some devastation, you know, as demons have burst into the room or broken through. And some of these are outdoor courtyards and that kind of thing. This is a kitchen, and you can see it's been sort of ransacked. So I don't know if you guys can see all that, but this gives a hint of some of the stuff to come, artwork-wise. And then,
Nice.
Of course, with Shadows of Brimstone, you know, the typical one, the original.
Right.
There's mines on one side, and the other side has another world.
Yes.
So just like, you know, that, we're going to do Japan, temples, castles on one side, and then the flip side of it is another world. And we're actually doing one called The Belly of the Beast. And these are some pictures of that kind of stuff. So this is especially weird. It's another world where you come through the portal and you end up inside of some giant creature. And you don't even know what it looks like or where you are because you're just within it. And so you're going through stomachs and organs and things within some enormous creature. And so big acid pools and, you know, sphincters in the wall, and this is a bunch of cocooned up guys here, cocooned against the wall, and maybe when you go in there's an encounter where they're saying, you know, like, put me out of my misery, because they're stuck to some wall. It's very nightmarish and very kind of Lovecraftian horror notion. So this is actually another world that we had as a stretch goal during the Kickstarter, very late and very high up, and so it didn't get unlocked during the Kickstarter, and so we went and revisited that and brought it in, put it into the flip side of the Japanese tiles. So we also think it's kind of fitting because you know, the Japanese love sushi and, you know, all of these things. It's like, yeah, you know, maybe the Belly of the Beast kind of fits, you know.
Oh my gosh.
So I have some pictures here also of some of the different characters. So you can see this is the samurai. You can see his concept art, and then the miniature there. So these are the 4 different heroes. There's the samurai. There's the sorceress. The assassin.
Ninja.
And the traveling monk. And just like Shadows of Brimstone, the character cards are double-sided. So on one side it has the male version, the other side it has the female version.
Yes.
But we have the default version, the miniature that comes with it. So the monk and the samurai are male characters by default, as far as what miniatures you get in the box set.
Right.
And the assassin and the sorceress are female.
Yes.
And then these are some of the enemies. The Oni, which actually pulls directly from Japanese mythology. And you'll notice they have tiger pants. That's very important to the actual Japanese mythos.
Huh.
But these are large kind of ogre characters. These are probably my favorite.
Oh, that's
They're
awesome.
the Dishonored Dead. And they're basically undead samurai.
Yes.
So you're fighting these guys in droves. This is the big guy, the big enemy. It's a giant living statue. And these guys, you'll see all through Japan, they're temple guardians. So it's a very traditional statue, and they'll have these enormous statues outside of temples as guardians, right? But
Yeah.
we have the statue come to life, and so it's animated, and you have to fight him. These guys right here are called acidic tentacles, and you can see they've got this lamprey sort of mouth with a lot of drool coming out. And these guys can spring up in Japan, but they're found mostly in the belly of the beast. They'll burst right through the stomach lining or whatever and attack your guys. It's very nightmarish.
Nice.
And then we've got the Tengu, which are also from traditional Japanese mythology, but we've done a little bit of our take on it. This is a Tengu mask, which you'll see in like Japanese theater and that kind of thing, but it's to portray this mythological creature that's kind of a birdman that uses swords and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So we've combined them. So we have the birdman and the representational Tengu mask, so you don't know exactly what they look like underneath. And then lastly, this is something we've introduced that's a new type of enemy that's a mini-boss, and this is the Haryanago, and this comes from Japanese mythology as well. And it's basically like this demonic woman who has animated hair, enormous animated hair with barbs at the end, so she can entangle people and attack them with her hair. She can use the hair to move and almost fly, basically hovering on a web of hair. It's very disturbing, but all this, it's cool to do kind of a delve into Japanese mythology, and it kind of feels like it's fairly untapped as far as dungeon crawls, certainly, but a lot of board games, and so we're really excited on it, and we're all of the miniatures for the core set are already sculpted, and so we showed them off yesterday here at the show. We have them over in the display case, so if you get a chance, you can pan past and add it to this. And then we're actually going to do this with a Kickstarter this fall. And so the Kickstarter, we haven't set the exact date because we want to make sure we can finish with all of the Brimstone stuff that was still part of the Kickstarter from before. And just in case people get the wrong idea, when I say finish with, that doesn't mean that we're done with Shadows of Brimstone. We have more plans for Shadows of Brimstone, but I just mean all of the things that were unlocked during the Kickstarter. We want to make sure we can finish those, get them into production, and then start on the Kickstarter for the Japanese Shadows of Brimstone, the Forbidden Fortress.
I got to ask you,
Sure.
when you first started with the Shadows of Brimstone,
Right.
did you have any idea that you could expand it in so many different directions from the start?
Yeah, so it's definitely gotten bigger than we had dreamed. We at the very beginning of any project, we do a lot of concept art and a lot of ideas, and then you have to, okay, let's get serious now. What can we actually fit in a box, and how? And it's a lot of narrowing down. And so we did that and created like the core sets for Shadows of Brimstone. This is what we're thinking would be in them, and we did the Kickstarter. And over the course of it, it did so well that it kept unlocking more and more stretch goals, and we were like, I guess we get to make this now. And we just we went down the list of our ideas, and we went with the crazier and crazier and crazier ones until we were getting to do stuff that was like really off the wall, like Wandering Samurai, where it's like, oh, we can have a wandering samurai who's come to town. And it's like Wandering Samurai is pretty far down on the list when you're like, okay, what are the quintessential Old West characters? You need the bandito and the gunslinger, and well, you should definitely have like a town doc. That would be cool. And But yeah, by the time we got to Wandering Samurai and like Gambler and some of these, it's more of a stretch. But normally we would never get a chance to do those more far out things. The Kickstarter totally allowed us to. And as far as the other worlds and getting to generate so much of that, we did see that once we introduced this notion of the kind of Lovecraftian, crazy portals and other dimensions, other planets and that kind of thing, taking someone who's just a guy and putting him in these extreme circumstances where there's crazy alien worlds and I see colors and this crazy once we realized that we had the portals and all that, then it's like it unlocks so many possibilities because you're no longer bound to one genre. You can suddenly have like a World War I thing, or aliens, that kind of thing. And so already in the course of the Kickstarter we unlocked ones like a derelict ship, and that's coming next year. So that's pretty cool. If you're a bandito and you've got a pack mule and you go through a portal and suddenly you're on this futuristic starship and the inhabitants are gone and you're careening through space going, this seems pretty empty, where am I? And then you're attacked by necronauts, which are spacesuit donned zombie skeletons that are attacking you. So you can do a lot with it, and it just opens it up. And it's from a design and a writing point of view, it gives you limitless possibilities. So we have a bright future for it. We have a lot of ideas that we'd still like to get to, and so it should be interesting.
Excellent. When's the Kickstarter coming?
So the Kickstarter will be this fall, and again, we don't have a specific date. We're probably shooting for end of October, something along those lines. And so it'll be announced on our website, on Facebook, on Twitter. So if you don't currently follow us on Facebook or Twitter, we're FFP Games, and you can check it out there.
Excellent. Well, you do have a few other games in existence.
Yes.
Is there anything going on with any of your other lines?
Well, so 2017, we realized, is the 10th anniversary of Last Night on Earth, which was our first game. And it's hard to believe because it seems like we just started doing this and now it's like 10 years, really? That's crazy. So we want to definitely revisit that and say, let's do something new for Last Night on Earth for the 10-year anniversary. And so we have some plans. We haven't announced anything yet, but look for that next year. And then the interesting thing is, because we've done about one game each year, the following year would be the 10th anniversary of A Touch of Evil. And so we'll probably be revisiting them as we go along each year. But, just in case you're saying, well, wait, Fortune and Glory, that wasn't that long ago. How long will I have to wait? We're not going to wait until we get to those anniversaries. We plan to kind of touch on each game and revisit it in some way as soon as we can.
Awesome. All right. What haven't we covered?
It's strange seeing you out of costume because you have such amazing, makeup and costume effects and blue screen stuff. I really love watching all of your reviews, and so it's.
And I have more coming. I've been lax lately, but there are more coming.
They're always entertaining. I look forward to it. Every time we have a new game, I try to guess what you're going to be dressed as, and so I don't want to know in advance. I just want to let it unfold. But if there's anything, if you want to review Tradera, then I plan to see you with 3 eyes in a helmet. We'll see what happens.
That would be interesting. All right, Scott, thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes to talk to me today.
Oh, no problem at all. Thanks for coming. It wouldn't be Gen Con without talking to you.
Exactly. I feel the same way. All right, thanks, everybody, and back to YouTube World.